When it comes to diabetes, nuts are often seen as either super healthy or something to avoid because they're high in fat and calories. The truth sits somewhere in between. Certain nuts can support blood sugar control, while others need more awareness around portion and timing. In this video, we'll look at 7 nuts that can fit into a diabetes-friendly lifestyle, not by eating more, but by eating smarter. We'll talk about what makes each nut helpful, how much actually makes sense, and where caution is still needed. Nut number 1. Almonds. Almonds are often recommended for people with diabetes, and there's a good reason for that. They're low in net carbohydrates and rich in healthy fats, fiber, and magnesium. Magnesium is especially important because it plays a role in insulin sensitivity, something many adults with diabetes struggle with over time. What makes almonds helpful is how they slow digestion. The combination of fat, fiber, and protein helps glucose enter the bloodstream more gradually, reducing sharp spikes after meals. This makes almonds particularly useful as part of a meal or as a small snack paired with other foods. Portion size, however, matters more than many people realize. A sensible serving is about a small handful, roughly 20 to 25 almonds. This amount provides benefits without pushing calories too high. Eating directly from a large container often leads to mindless overeating, which can work against blood sugar and weight management. Plain, unsalted almonds are the best choice. Flavored or honey-roasted versions add sugars that cancel out the benefit. When eaten intentionally and in the right amount, almonds can support steadier blood sugar rather than disrupt it. Nut number 2. Walnuts. Walnuts stand out not because of their carbohydrate content, but because of their fat profile. They are rich in omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation and support heart health, both critical concerns for people with diabetes. Blood sugar control isn't just about glucose, it's also about protecting the system that manages it. Walnuts contain very few digestible carbohydrates, meaning they have minimal direct impact on blood sugar levels. Instead, they help by improving overall metabolic health and slowing digestion when eaten with meals. This makes them a good addition to dinner or lunch rather than a standalone snack. Because walnuts are calorie-dense, portions should stay modest. About 1 ounce or 6 to 8 walnut halves is enough to gain benefits without excess. Larger amounts can quietly add too many calories, which over time may worsen insulin resistance. Walnuts are best eaten raw or lightly toasted without added oils or sugars. For people with diabetes, they're not a solution on their own, but when used wisely, walnuts support the broader goal of steadier blood sugar and better long-term health. Nut number 3. Pistachios. Pistachios are one of the more interesting nuts for people with diabetes because they behave differently than many expect. While they do contain carbs, they're also high in fiber, protein, and healthy fats, which slows how those carbs are absorbed. This makes pistachios less likely to cause sharp blood sugar spikes when eaten in proper portions. Another advantage is their effect when eaten with other foods. Pistachios can reduce the blood sugar response of a meal, especially when paired with carbohydrates. This is partly because they help slow digestion and partly because they support better insulin response after eating. Portion control is key. A sensible serving is about 1 ounce, or roughly 45 to 50 pistachios in their shells. The shells actually slow down eating, which naturally limits overconsumption. Without that visual cue, it's easy to eat more than intended. The best choice is plain, unsalted pistachios. Flavored or sweetened versions add unnecessary sugars. When eaten mindfully, pistachios can fit well into a diabetes-friendly plan, offering satisfaction without pushing blood sugar too high. Nut number 4. Peanuts. Peanuts are technically legumes, but in daily eating habits, they function much like nuts. For people with diabetes, peanuts can be a practical option because they're low in digestible carbs and rich in protein and healthy fats. This combination helps slow digestion and reduces how quickly glucose enters the bloodstream. One of the key benefits of peanuts is their ability to improve satiety. When meals feel more filling, it becomes easier to avoid overeating or reaching for extra snacks later, both of which can quietly worsen blood sugar control. Peanuts are especially helpful when paired with carbohydrate-based foods, as they help soften the post-meal glucose rise. Accessibility is another advantage. Peanuts are affordable, widely available, and familiar, which makes them easier to use consistently compared to more exotic nuts. Consistency matters more than perfection when managing diabetes. Portion size still deserves attention. A sensible serving is about 1 ounce or a small handful. Peanut butter can also work, but it's easier to overeat, so measuring is important. Choose natural versions without added sugars or hydrogenated oils. When kept simple and eaten in appropriate amounts, peanuts can support steadier blood sugar without complicating everyday meals. Nut number 5. Cashews. Cashews often get labeled as bad for diabetes, but the reality is more nuanced. They contain more carbs than many other nuts, which means portion size and timing matter more. That said, cashews also provide magnesium, healthy fats, and plant-based protein, all of which play a role in blood sugar regulation. The challenge with cashews is how easy they are to overeat. Their soft texture and mild sweetness make it simple to go beyond a reasonable amount without noticing. When portions grow too large, the carb load can push blood sugar higher, especially at night or when eaten alone. A sensible serving is about 1 ounce or roughly 16 to 18 cashews. Eating them alongside a meal rather than as a standalone snack helps slow digestion and reduces the glucose response. Pairing cashews with protein or fiber-rich foods makes them easier for the body to handle. Cashews are best avoided in sweetened or flavored forms, which add unnecessary sugars. When eaten mindfully and in the right context, cashews don't need to be eliminated. They simply require more respect than other nuts. Nut number 6. Hazelnuts. Hazelnuts are often overlooked, yet they offer benefits that go beyond blood sugar alone. They're rich in monounsaturated fats and vitamin E, both of which support blood vessel health. For people with diabetes, this matters because stable circulation plays a key role in how efficiently glucose and insulin move through the body. From a blood sugar perspective, hazelnuts are low in digestible carbs. Their natural fat and fiber content slows digestion, helping glucose enter the bloodstream at a steadier pace. This makes them less likely to trigger sharp spikes, especially when eaten alongside other foods rather than on their own. Hazelnuts also contribute to satiety. When meals feel more satisfying, it becomes easier to avoid unnecessary snacking later in the day, which can quietly disrupt blood sugar control. This indirect benefit is often just as important as the nutritional profile itself. Portion size still matters. Hazelnuts are calorie-dense, so a reasonable serving is about 1 ounce or roughly 20 hazelnuts. Choosing plain, unsalted varieties is best. Chocolate-coated or sweetened versions quickly cancel out the benefits. When eaten in moderation, hazelnuts support both metabolic and cardiovascular health, making them a balanced and underrated option for people managing diabetes. Number 7. Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are unique among nuts because of their exceptionally high selenium content. Selenium is a trace mineral that supports thyroid function, antioxidant defense, and overall metabolic health. For people with diabetes, this matters because metabolic efficiency affects how the body manages glucose over time. Unlike many other nuts, Brazil nuts don't need to be eaten in large amounts to be beneficial. They're very low in digestible carbs, which means they have minimal direct impact on blood sugar. Instead, their value comes from supporting the systems behind blood sugar control, rather than influencing glucose directly. This is where caution is important. Because Brazil nuts are so rich in selenium, more is not better. 1 to 2 Brazil nuts per day is usually enough to meet selenium needs. Eating larger amounts regularly can lead to excess intake, which may cause unwanted side effects over time. Brazil nuts are also calorie-dense, so treating them as a supplement-like food rather than a snack helps maintain balance. Plain, raw, or lightly roasted versions are best, without added salt or sugar. When eaten intentionally and in very small portions, Brazil nuts can play a supportive role in a diabetes-friendly diet without disrupting blood sugar stability. Nuts can support blood sugar management when we focus on the right types, realistic portions, and how they fit into daily meals rather than eating them mindlessly. If this video was helpful, stay with us and watch our next videos for simple, practical health tips that support better blood sugar and healthier aging.